Being live streamed. Hello. Hello. Hooray. Hello. Hooray. Um, yeah, well, that's a typo. Let's see. And it's my Monday meditation. You know, that's really what it is. You know, meditation takes on many forms. And you know, meditation. All right, the audio works. That's good. Uh, the audio does work. Hey, buddy, Rick Bartow. What's up, my friend? I was enjoying some of your poster art the other day. Your internet. You know, it's unclear these days if something is only internet or if it was out in the world. But I know you actually do print things and make signs for the restaurant. So awesome, awesome stuff. Uh, how are you, Rick? Rick, we have a little echoey synthesizer just for you. That's for Rick Bartow. Um, and anyone else that loves synthetic sounds, weird sounds. Uh, no meat in those posters. That's great. And that's okay. You know, if you've been to Meatless Monday, you know that that's what it's about. Just encouraging one day. So I'm fine with people that hunt and eat meat, and I'm fine that y'all have chicken and shrimps and things like that on the menu. Yeah, no hate. Uh, I'm just asking people one day, just one day, take a look and see what's up. Hey, Ryan Walsh, how are you? And hey, let's get topical. Ryan Walsh would go in to the Thai place there um, uh, in Hazlitt, right? And you know, Rick Bartow has always pointed out to me that yeah, of course, we've got quite a few meatless items on the menu. Oh, I gotta fix my sound here. Original sound. How's my sound? You can hear me okay? I mean, I've just got hey nominal volume. Um, so Ryan, who lives right there in the uh, Jersey Shore area around Hazlitt, Matawan, Middletown area. Um, hey Ryan, check out. I always say it wrong, but Eyes? Is it Eyes? Italian barbecue? A's? I'm not sure how you pronounce it, bro. But anyway, Ryan, this is a restaurant owned by some dear friends, and you should check it out. It's a Thai place in Airport Plaza, right over there in Hazlitt. And I'm going to put the link up here. But as any Thai place, really, you know, very veg friendly. You know, you always very easy to find veg options in any Asian cuisine. I find I've never had a problem in any Asian, you know, Thai or Chinese or Malaysian or Cambodian. I mean, that's the whole idea that it's a very vegetable friendly set of cuisines across that diaspora. So go check them out, Ryan, and go. I'm looking here for where I am, so I could put this link. Boomerang. Wow. Anyway, I was doing a workshop the other day, so boomerang loopers and JL Cooper MIDI controllers. Geez, all this stuff that I left open. Here's my news item on Jay Z, which is one of my topics today. That's right. Kanye has a new album out, but we're gonna not talk so much about Kanye, but Jay-Z and what Jay-Z's been doing with plant-based. He has been investing for years now, and Beyonce and him have done. Um, they've. It sounds like for her it's like a cleanse. Like she'll do a vegan cleanse for 90 days and that sort of thing. And that's great. Whatever gets you trying it out is fucking great. Um, and I love it when somebody that prominent, that influential, is. Oh, I gotta check my YouTube. Make sure I don't have any questions there. When someone that influential and that what's the word? Oh, my video. There we go. When someone that influential kind of says, "Hey, um, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm checking that out," for better or worse, of course, we could go all day about the folly of following famous people but from time immemorial, or at least for 2,000 years, um, ever since people started following that guy because they agreed in his views. People are influenced by others, so it's always cool when someone like Beyonce or Jay Z or the two of them together kind of say, "Hey, let's think about the oceans. Let's think about plastic. Let's think about the animals." Um, you know. So anyway, so what do you have for lunch today? So we always have that as part of the fun. It's a conversation starter, and it's a little bit of an encouragement. And I have found that when you all share different ideas, other people pick up on it and say, "Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Lentil soup. I used to love that. I haven't had it in ages. Let me learn how to make some or grab a can of Progresso." I've literally had people write me and say, "I forgot this recipe my mom used to make with chickpeas and basil or fresh onions or she used to mash this and when we think back to side dishes and like all those dishes that are around the turkey, right? That are around the roast pig. That's always plant-based stuff, right? It's always potatoes and string beans and asparagus and something with okra, something with um, roasted tomatoes or whatever. So side dishes are always a good thing. So again, I love that people give each other ideas here. So it's cool. So Rick is doing no food Mondays. That's great, man. Fasting once a week is great. If that's what you mean. If you're fasting. Um, Kevin Ritchie, great to hear you are doing okay and you're thriving. Hope you're thriving. Let me know. But good to hear you're here. Thanks for checking in. Tell us how you're doing. Celine, checking in from Turkey, right? Are you in Turkey right now? I lose track of whether you travel or come back and forth. How is Turkey? Tell us how it's been since you've been there and you've said, "Wow, this is a challenge finding some meatless things where I am in Turkey." And as I've shared with you, only been there once for about, I think we were there almost a week. Yeah, 5, 6 days, something like that. And I've only been to Turkey that one trip, but it was beautiful. And we went from Eskese, we went to Istanbul, flew in and out of Istanbul, and went to Eskesehir, and I think you say it, and it was spectacular. But to your surprise, I remember you were surprised when I said it was incredible as a vegetarian. I was in heaven. I was just like, man, this is from the time we landed, because we got into this van with the guy to go, and it was a good hour to the hotel or something like that, 45 minutes. And so that's always rough, right after you've crossed the ocean on a long flight. But we did, and next thing you know, uh, driving, through the city traffic and then onto a highway. But then he stopped, like, so we could, take a piss, get something to drink, get some whatever, get some stuff for the room. And to our surprise or not, there we were in this place at night somewhere outside Istanbul, like a convenience. It was a gas station, really, like a major gas station, and they had a salad bar. And three of us were vegetarian. Three of the four people on the trip were vegetarian, and we walked in and we go, oh, this is great, some fresh, raw, live food, because we could see the salad bar. And there was something for everyone. Our boss is not vegetarian, Adrian Ballou, but he likes all kinds of food. But for him, if he wanted a chicken sandwich or tuna or turkey or whatever he got, that was there. But we were so delighted, our first time in Turkey, that it was, or our first hour in Turkey, beautiful salad bar. I mean, all this amazing stuff. Just what you'd find in any salad bar: vegetables, lettuce, carrots, onions, whatever, different chopped up things, and olives and marinated mushrooms. But then all these little Turkish dishes that either said what they were, or we asked the guy and he was like, "Oh yeah, there's absolutely no meat here, here, here." So anyway, Turkey was a good experience for me, and it went on like that day after day. Great food. So hoping that Celine, that you explained to me, you're like, yeah, the places I'm going, it's not so. So hopefully you've found some alternatives there, and some things, because I had amazing vegan food every day. The show we were at, we had a chef. Now, she was Armenian. Was she? Yeah, she was Armenian, but lived in Syria, but came to Turkey. I mean, as you know, there's a lot of moving around there. But oh man, she cooked this kind of 10-course meal for us, and everything except the chicken for the one person was vegetarian, which is such a beautiful way to do the table, just make it all vegetarian and one or two choices of flesh, and then everyone's happy. Everyone's happy. So, well, someone's always going to be not happy, so we can guarantee that. All right, so looking at what people ate, and I have one of my favorite chefs and somebody who was a guest on this show a couple times in this over a year that I've been doing this. Thank you for being part of it. And it's Laura Darty. How are you, Laura? Good to see you there. And let's have you back on the show, as we said, for some pretty soon. For maybe we'll do the first day of fall, kind of fall cooking affirmations. Sharon is here. Hey, Sharon. Sanford Pass is here. What's up, my bro? My old friend Sanford Pass. He says, everything affects everything. We got to have some spacey music for the spacey kind of thoughts. Let's do that soundtrack. And he's right. I'm not making fun of it. He's right. But you want to have In Search Of. Remember that with Leonard Nimoy and In Search Of. There we go. So everything affects everything. Unified field isn't the theory. Let's put some tricks on my. Let's do that. Okay. Hey. Unified. There we go. Unified field theory. Is the theory. Everything, man, affects everything. Everything affects everything, man. A butterfly wing. Connected to a hurricane. Every action flows outwards. Endless waves. Namaste. I'm not even kidding, folks. You know, it's true. You know, every little thing you do does have waves that go out, man. It's not even. I'm having a little fun there, and Sanford and I, 30 years ago, were probably smoking a bong and listening to some music like that. But it's true, you know, all these things affect each other. So good to see you, bro. What did you eat today? I think I saw something flash by. All right. Celine says she's in Turkey. Okay, haven't left yet. Kevin Ritchie now has you got my haircut? Wow. You have something like 4 years of uncut afro? That's awesome. I applaud you. Okay, Sanford had, look, our first food item, the Dr. Prager's California Veggie Burger. Yeah, those are good, you know, and I applaud Dr. Prager. He's been doing these, not to be confused with that jackass Dennis Prager, which is actually spelled differently. But, yeah, Dr. Prager is, you know, old school. You know, this is a guy that I remember his books and his articles and things in the 90s, maybe even the 80s. You know, I remember even maybe the late 80s, Dr. Prager, one of these, like Dean Ornish, you know, like Dr. Oz later on, like Andrew Weil. You have a lot of medical doctors. There's a few I'm forgetting. There's Dr. Christian Northrup, you know, Dr. Joanna Budwig and Udo Erasmus. These are all medical people, or the last couple are biologists and microbiologists, chemists. But it's always great when people with that science background, which I know is a mixed bag today for some reason, but the people with a science background over the years that have come forward and said, hey, look, we have looked at this diet, we have studied this diet. It's excellent for human nutrition. It's excellent because it's high in nutrients, high in vitamins, minerals, high in good fats, and you know, balanced in all those things. And it's a fine source of protein, and yeah, and also doesn't have the toxic load that a high animal flesh and dairy diet can bring with it. It doesn't have the saturated fat. And for the non-organic animal foods, it's not bringing in the pesticides, the steroids, the antibiotics. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today because I'm going to cross over, as I always do, in the news cycle stuff and talk about people that you may know that are eating non-organic chicken. I want to talk about non-organic chicken today. And I'd love someone to weigh in who eats non-organic chicken, who eats non-organic beef, who eats non-organic pork, but didn't get the vaccine because you don't know what's in it. I want to talk to you today. In fact, I'll bring you on the show. If you want to come on, get on camera, let me know. We'll direct message you the links, and you can come right here, side by side, present your side of how you understand this. Because I want to hear from somebody who, again, And please, if you know a friend, invite them. Bring them on the show today or any week that I don't have it packed, with a guest that I'm giving time. But I want to ask this question. I'll ask it again very clearly. If you're anti-vaccine, and I'm not pro-vaccine per se, I'm tolerant of the fact that you need emergency shit in your life sometimes. That's all. Not a fan. I'm not going to wear, yay for vaccines. I mean, yes, yay because they've shut down smallpox and polio and mumps and measles and rubella and pertussis and whooping cough. Um, Shut them down or squeeze them down to an almost invisible level in most first and second and most of the third world societies. But my question for folks are, and it's with respect. I don't call people idiots and clowns and jerks and more. I don't see the point in that. We may disagree, and and if you earn that moniker, then okay. I'm not afraid to say that. But in general, I think in this fight we should be just communicating with people. And again, I want to ask somebody with respect, if you haven't gotten the vaccine because you're worried about what's in it, I want to hear from you. If you have two conditions here, if you also consume on a regular basis any or all of the following: non-organic chicken, non-organic duck, turkey, pork, beef, shrimp, eggs, milk, cheese, cream cheese, cottage cheese, cream. And if you consume any of those foods that are not organic, right? That are not certified pesticide free and free of antiviral drugs, and free of uh, um, hormonal additives, free of steroids. If you're eating a clean diet, as it's called, then okay, totally consistent. Again, I want to hear from those of you against the vaccine, but you're eating any of those foods. I just want to ask you questions. Like, I just want to ask how avoiding the vaccine because of ingredients is a priority, which I respect. I salute you. You're trying to be careful. But I want to point to your turkey sub and say, what gives? I mean, this non-organic turkey, in all likelihood, has eaten some genetically modified food, grain, corn, whatever. The animal may be genetically modified. That we don't know. That some are, some aren't. It certainly has eaten some pesticides that are banned in half the world. A lot of our turkey and beef and chicken cannot be bought outside the USA. Did you know that? Did you know the greatest country in the world, we've got foods that don't pass muster in a lot of other countries? That's not good news. So if you're eating that, but avoiding the vaccine because you're concerned, that's the disconnect I want to kind of explore. So that's one of the things that I'm talking about today, as well as just delicious food. So here I am on Dr. Prager's website, and yeah, I had the kale burgers. I think I had the California veggie burgers. So we're gonna jump over to that site real quick, right quick, and let's see if I got any questions first or comments. Oh, Laura's asking what this shirt is. Laura has, oh, some people in your family with COVID. That sucks. Wow. Oh, that sucks. Let's have some caffeine. I'm going to open a can of Perrier here. I wish Perrier would fund this show because I'm looking for funding. Anyway, it's a nice recyclable can to go into our carbon footprint, which I'm calculating that all the time. But it's this new stuff they have. It's just Perrier sparkling water, but with, I think it's a cup's worth of yerba mate in it. How about that? So, a little caffeine. Mm. Bubbly. Makes me burp. In a bubbly, nice drink, Perrier. It's got a little grapefruit taste. Anyway, Laura, you wonder what my T-shirt is. Thank you. So I played a gig. My first gig inside a building was Saturday. I was careful about it. I was nervous a little bit, and I'm sure there's some naysayers here saying, "What were you nervous about? There's no virus. You're fine. Masks don't work." Hey, I want to hear your story. I'm a little tired of it because I have friends' parents who've died. I have friends' bandmates who've died. I have friends who've almost died. I have friends, close to 10 friends now, with long-term COVID situations. One of them's here. I have at least 10 friends with some with lung issues, some with heart issues, one or two with a blood situation. One has neurological pain and kind of lupus-like symptoms. 8-10 months later, she's in and out of medical centers, spent a fortune, insurance headaches, hassles. She survived. She lived. And that's the thing. Most people will live. Most people survive. No one ever said otherwise. From day one, they said most people will survive. It's that you get sometimes, again, some small percentage, but a small percentage of hundreds of millions of people starts to be quite a few. But a lot of people are getting this long COVID. I know people, and I read about people, tons of young people, 8, 10, 15 months of lasting side effects, you know? So, anyway, so when people say to me that it's nonsense, I'm perplexed. Anyway, I did this show. This is answering your question, Laura, about my T-shirt. Did this show, and that's a mini Moog you're hearing. And I pay tribute to the wonderful sounds of Robert Moog all the time, Bob Moog, as he's lovingly known. And I played for the first time at the Moog store, which is the store at the Moog factory. And they're completely separate from the Bob Moog Foundation that I'm involved in sometimes just as a friend and supporter and volunteer. And I've even done some consulting work for them. But two separate entities, Moog Music and Bob Moog Foundation. And I'm so happy that I was invited to play at this esteemed or at this hallowed space called the Moog headquarters, the world headquarters. People travel around the world to come here to Asheville to go to the Moog headquarters. Incredible. So I'll share a picture or two. So I played there on Saturday, and what they do is they you have a couple choices on how you want to get paid, and you could do it with credit to the discounts on items or grab some merchandise or something. And I opted for the latter. I said, yeah, let me get. So I got a couple of nice T-shirts. So this is a T-shirt, Laura. It's this is it's a circuit. It's a circuit, electronic circuit of Bob Moog, and it's I don't know what it is. it might be his oscillator. I don't know, but I thought it was his filter circuitry, but it's a little different. But anyway, one of his inventions. Maybe it's the 921. I don't know. I'm ignorant. It doesn't matter. I just know Bob Moog came up with it. It looks cool, and it's got square, square wave across the top. Let's listen to a square wave. So if you want to win a mini Moog, you have till tonight to buy tickets at the Bob Moog Foundation. We're going to put the link up. All right. So thanks for asking, Laura. That's your answer to my T-shirt with a little multimedia. Celine says, Turkey is okay, just very complicated. Yeah, I'm sure. Laura has a shaman and a friend. Oh, a friend who is a shaman. I don't know. Who is that, Laura, let me know. You want to go? Yes, Turkey is awesome. Awesome. Yes, we will do. We should. Yeah, we'll get Lacey on too. Laura, yes, you know Sanford Pass. You know him from the co-op days. Oh, and he knows your sister Maxine. See, I knew that. Man, that's great. Sharon says his letter Nimoy Dinam with whale song. Yes, and he's reading poetry. Yes. Thank you, Laura. Being funny is it's the goal. I don't always hit it, but it's uh, it's the goal, and it's what the Buddha recommends that we laugh. You know, it's part of the picture. Bassam says playing that music and eating tempeh, you'll never see my aura. Sounds like yeah. So you have two good music references there, Bassam. Let's pay tribute to them both. Let's see. Let's get a little second oscillator love. Let's detune a little bit. And so on. That's right, Bassam. You will never see my aura. Laura's in a spacey mood. Laura, what did you have for lunch? I had for lunch, very simple, you know, and we were saying, man, we need the baked beans to make this a full English. Robin made some just egg, like just a quick scrambled egg, kind of a just egg thing. I haven't talked about that in a while because we haven't had it in a while. You know, frankly, we just eat a lot of vegetables and just started eating a little more rice, cooking some jasmine rice, and really enjoying. I kind of avoided rice for a bit there. No agenda, no reason, just going easy on grains in general. And sometimes I've taken almost a year off of grains, all grains, not just wheat and the whole gluten thing, but just eating no grains. And we can get into the different reasons for it, but you know, I think what's valuable sometimes is just an elimination diet. Don't eat soy for a month. I've tried that and longer, and just to see, okay, two things you learn when you do an elimination diet. You learn two things, at least, maybe more. You learn, oh, wow, I was reacting to that. And it might be something you never, why am I getting, oh, a little noise there. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Hear that high-pitched noise? When you do an elimination diet, you find out a number of things, including you might have been reacting to something. This is something that's really important about allergies and allergens. We are sometimes allergic to something that we're addicted to or that we have as a staple. A big one's corn, a big one's dairy, a big one's wheat. You know, these are things that people tend to eat every single day and that are very resistant to changing. I've had that. Again, when I speak to you folks, I'm coming at you with almost 20 years of natural foods retail, of being on the inside of the, you know, of the question and answer thing on the retailer side of the counter. Well over 10,000 people that I've you know helped and talked to. Well over that number. That's shooting low too. When I've sat and done the math of nearly 20 years in retail, and one thing that's very common, you know, there's about 5 things you deal with almost daily. And one of them's allergies. One of them, and you wouldn't be surprised, right? Most of you probably say you have some allergies. And I've learned so much about allergies and allergic response and dealing with allergies. But one of the main things is when it is something in that common list of wheat, dairy. Um, I mean, there's lots of things people maybe should cut back on, like processed sugar and you know the wrong fats and things like that. But you tend to you have ill effects of those, but it's not usually an allergy type thing. It's not usually runny nose and hives and sneezing and coughing and scratchy throat and um, psoriasis and things like that. Um, um, Digestive issues, right? Irritable bowel syndrome and digestive stuff. Those are some of the allergic reactions that are common, right? Um, Stuff with all your senses, stuff with your breathing, like I said, mucus, sniffy, coughy, sneezy, drippy. Um, are those the seven dwarfs? And so it's all that stuff, and then your eyes and all the organs, all the five senses, or some of the five senses are usually affected. Runny eyes, red eyes, things like that. Um, and there's other, of course, allergy symptoms. But my point is, quite often when someone is confronted with, hey, it might be dairy, you wouldn't believe the amount of times there's a real pushback of like, no, it can't be that because I have that every day. And it's like, no, that's why it probably is that because you're eating it 2 or 3 times a day. So that's very common. And I bring dairy up right away because it's kind of the number one allergen. And then the second thing people usually say is, well, I don't have much. And then you say, well, let's go through your day. Do you drink coffee or tea? Well, yes. Do you have any cream in there? Yeah, but just a little bit. Yeah, but that's 7 days a week, that much. So it's that much, in a week, which is a lot of hormones, a lot of steroids, a lot of antibiotics, that you're having. But then you ask people and they realize, you know what? Then I have some toast with a little butter or sometimes cream cheese. But then I have a shake and I put yogurt in there, right? That, and then at lunch I have cottage cheese or more cheese in a sandwich and they start realizing that it really creeps in because then they have two Starbucks during the day that are lattes. So you got, it's only a little milk like that, but times two, times five. So you start adding this up. But anyway, my point about allergies and allergens is it's a discussion that one really good thing is to just eliminate and test things out. And that's where I started, that I do that sometimes. I eliminate things that I love. It's hard to do that, but this is where food gets into the psychology of lifestyle and habits and things like that. But one of the difficult things you do is look at your diet and say, this may be all wrong. Let me mess around with this. Let me take soy out. Let me take wheat out. Let me look at my fats. Let me be very critical. I've been eating, if potentially you've been eating a lot of peanuts or this other nut, quit those. Try another nut. This is all if you're working on different things, on optimizing your health. So anyway, somehow got on that, but it was I think Bassam with inspired that. Laura, you're laughing so hard. That's great. Truth, bong smoking, and spaciness. Yes, that's back in the day. Oh, I turned it down. Laura's lunch was vegan pierogies and mushroom sauerkraut. Or vegan pierogies and mushroom and sauerkraut. Or is it mushroom sauerkraut? That sounds good. Yeah, Prager came out in the 80s at least, yeah. Maybe he was doing shit even in the late 70s. You had that great team of people like Worthington and, Tafuti was early 80s, but you had these old school companies. That was cool. Laura also had pickled beet salad and steamed kale. Lovely. I have some steamed kale to finish up. Been having that the past couple of days. I could eat steamed kale most days, which is what Anne Frank and her friends did, locked in that 2-bedroom apartment. We were talking about this the other day. Talk about people that had to eat the same food every day. But props to Anne Frank and her folks that she was with. Our heart goes out because that story did not end well, of course. But what we can learn is they sat their asses down for 27 months. They didn't have Netflix or YouTube. They didn't have Whole Foods delivery, no chicken wings, no Thai food, no pizza, no donuts brought to their door. They didn't have it. No Netflix, no free Amazon shipping and shipping your returns. And we still bitch and cry and moan and complain. I want to go to Costa Rica. I want to go to Disney World. I deserve a concert. I'm tired of this. Everyone's tired of it. Uh, no one ordered this up. No one, you know, so it's peculiar because it's, we obviously are not enjoying this, but it's about looking at what an earth-changing moment it is. It really is. So Kevin said all the states of matter affect one another, which we have observed. Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Gundry, that's another one. Plant Paradox, thank you. Celine had eggplant with potatoes and rice mixed with tomato. Psh, boom. Drop the mic. That sounds delicious. Anything that starts with, 3 simple vegetables and a little bit of rice can't go wrong. And someone's eating that around the world, right? That's the beauty. Someone in Mexico, someone in Pakistan, someone in Santiago, Chile, someone in London eating that. Sharon's ready to move from righteous anger to compassion. Okay, that's good. I go with some combination of those all the time, and yeah, it's yin yang. They're both valuable responses. Sanford, thank you. I'm glad you like the electronic stylings. Benny, what's up, Benny? What's up, my friend? Good to see you here. How are you living, Benny? Benny, do you know about Black Rican Vegan? I keep bringing her up. She's the shit. She is in New York City. I want you to go try some of the food and take a picture, man. Because I can't get there yet. She's this young woman who is incredible and inspiring and enterprising. And she has a let's see, selling out soon. Okay, good. She is let me pull her up here on the old gram. Oh, this is good news. Well, let me jump and say because I was going to talk about this today, but now the point is moot because they sold out, folks. My friends over at the Bob Moog Foundation have sold all the tickets. I love it. And you can see a picture there, a little photograph of a mini Moog signed by Bob Moog. And if you bought a ticket, in about 9 hours, they will pick about 8 hours, they will pick the winner. And it may be you if you bought tickets. So thank you so much for helping my dear friend Michelle Moog Kusa and all the folks that work at Bob Moog Foundation, whether it's her small staff or the volunteers. We had Michelle on one of my shows just, was it last Monday? It's all a blur. I think it was last Monday or 2 Mondays ago. And very proud to be one of the people getting the word out on what she's doing. So much for the multimedia. No need to talk about raffle tickets today. Okay, but what we will talk about is this is for anyone in the New York area. Please follow Black Rican Vegan on the gram. I better plug my phone in. What do I have? About 13%. I can't even read it backwards. 19%. Okay. So, Black Rican Vegan. Check her out. She's got almost 40,000 followers. And she's got a pop-up shop that pops up different places. She does delivery in Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, and Manhattan. And she is something else. So she's a woman with African descent and Puerto Rican descent and vegan reality. So she's kind of all kinds of things. But she does these amazing comidas de Boricua, these Puerto Rican meals, these foods. And she pulls from her her mom and her family's recipes and delicious foods, and she does it without flesh. She does it cruelty-free. Someone's gonna say, "Oh, she's being cruel to those onions." Yeah, whatever. But she's doing a very cool take on her her food, and other food of the Caribbean. Flancocho. There's a vegan pasta, vegan rasta pasta that she's doing. Right? Remember Chef? What was his name? There was a guy in High Times. Chef Ra would do the rasta pasta, right? Let's see what else she's got. Vegan pernil. I showed you that one. Let's see what else we got. Tres leche. Wow. She got tres leche, which is a nice, very easy to do dairy at this point, folks. It's not even, like, oh, here's a nice little video. Look at that. Some cornbread. There's some, I see some mac and cheese there. Some kind of delicious barbecue thing. Some kale that's all spiced up. That's the thing. This is savory, spicy kind of vegan food, and there's some real ideas here. You know, and here's the lady herself doing a little live. So she's really cool. She's funny. She's cool. She's positive-minded, and she's doing a great thing. She's bringing again these meals: lots of plátanos, arroz, frijoles negros, cebollas. Help me out with my vocabulary. I'm forgetting. Ajuate, fruta de pan. Oh, delicious. Different rice, lot of rice, and saffron. That vibe is very prevalent. I mean, it's classic Puerto Rican food, my folks. It's just, just taking out the pork, which is so easy to do. When 95% of the ingredients are vegetarian, very easy to take the pork and the chicken out of there. And if you need that texture, you've got all those things like Beyond Beef, Beyond Pork, if you even need to go there. She obviously doesn't even do that much. But when she does these wonderful dishes using seitan, using things like that. Look at that. So she is solidly comfort food, Black Rican vegan. Check her out. I'll put the link. One more. Look at that. Now that's when someone says they're going to make you a plate. You better hope it looks like that. The picture is not fantastic, but absolutely on my list next time anywhere near New York City, because this woman is crazy, and there's a lot of good food trucks New York. So, all right. Just wanted to talk about that. And I put it in the she doesn't have a truck. I don't think she has a food truck. She does deliveries, but she does a pop-up. She does a pop-up store. Okay, so that link is there for y'all. All right, let's get back to your questions. Laura, okay. Celine saying you're getting the vaccine when you move back. A lot of the ones here the U.S. doesn't accept. Yeah, I know. We got a global problem right now because some of these vaccines are not very efficient. Laura says your brother-in-law has been in oxygen since last December because of COVID. Wow. So please tell us more. I mean, it does he have the vaccine? And if not, why not? We really got to explore this shit, or we're stuck for years doing this. Are these sound waves? Yes. Well, I think this is before I talked about it, but yeah, some of these are wave forms. You know, there's some square waves there, and some other kind of, you know, pulse wave modulation type things. So it's a measurement of really a bunch of pulse widths. Come to think of it, it's not really circuitry. Anyway, it's a fucking cool shirt. Thank you. Kevin Ritchie says hospitalized for a month. Heart disease rehab. Okay, learn to walk again. Wow, sorry to hear that, bro. No haircut to shave. Baird in here. Okay, I see. Robinson Crusoe. Good. Robinson Crusoe families. All right, and Sharon, thank you for putting that link. And as we see, it doesn't matter because they sold out. That's good. Shaman Durek. Okay. Kevin has to watch his diet and food input. Think of me often. Thank you, my friend. You know, one of my goals is to do as much as we can to control what we're eating and drinking so that we don't get to a place where we're in a doctor's office who says you can't eat these 20 things now. Wow, you know, and I'm not saying you could have avoided this. Believe me. Obviously, it's as many things as we can though to avoid. Vegan pierogies, nice. Pickled veg, very nice, and mushrooms. Laura wants some rice. I know. Been having some, just jasmine and wild rice. You know. Oh, Perrier is making me burp. And cooked oats and chia seeds. Sharon has with a bunch of nice stuff. All right, that sounds like a good breakfast or brunch. Matthew Stoner, how are you, my friend? How about nightshades? You know, great question. Great. You're talking about allergies because I was ranting about allergies before. Nightshades are interesting. You know, I eat them. I eat eggplants and tomatoes. What other nightshades are there? I mean, some argue mushrooms, but mushrooms are not a sunlight kind of a thing per se. So they thrive underground 24 hours a day, so they're a little tricky. And they're fungus, so there's a whole other discussion there on allergies and on food sourcing. I'm a big fan of fungi. But you raise a great question. What about nightshades? And I've worked with people throughout my time in natural foods that don't eat nightshades. You know, that whether it's because they're macrobiotic or different Ayurvedic ideas or different, Peter D'Adamo, eat right for your food type. And there's all kinds of reasons to avoid nightshades, which I respect. And I will say, when you avoid, sometimes tomatoes can be a real problem for people with joint pains and gout and different things. So I think there's something up there. There's something we should at least be careful. And yes, you're right. In an elimination diet, why not eliminate nightshades just to test it out? So we're gonna go reptilian now. What do you think? See? These glasses show off my real eyes. They're special. They're special glasses. I got them from the Alex Jones website, and what they do is it's a test that lets you see do you have any reptilian DNA? You know, the whole reptilian alien race thing, and you know, the royal family, the reptilians, the reptilian agenda, right? David Icke and all that stuff. Well, you get these glasses, and they tell you, and it turns out, I didn't know, but I've got this whole reptilian DNA thing. See? Wow. I didn't know. So, trying to explore that too. Maybe that's why I like kale and stuff. You ever see lizards when they're eating kale? I don't know. What do you think? But to my conspiracy friends, turns out you were more right than I thought. So we're going to explore that in the second hour. Allergies, Laura agrees. Tired, lethargic, bad sleep, aches and pains, headaches, asthma. Yeah, all can be allergy related. I know I'm low in vitamin D, by the way. Speaking of need a little more rest. Kevin has received an injection for zoster, herpes. Wow. Fancy being in a rehab. How about that? So you're saying that there are vaccines for viruses and they know what they're talking about? I don't believe it for 1 minute. Laura is indeed awesome, and she's very knowledgeable. She's great. Visit the Anne Frank house. Yep, changed my life. Brought me to tears. It's heavy. I stood and looked at that window at the Gracht. I think it's on Prinsen Gracht. Gracht is the Dutch name for the canals that you see throughout the city. And there's the Herengracht, Prinsengracht, all these different canals. And you look out the window and you think, Anne Frank looked out this window and heard the crunch of boots of those stormtroopers. Fucking serious shit, man. Laura, yes, you got to go to Amsterdam, my friend. That town, that city, you'd love it. And it's one of my favorite vegetarian stops. Incredible vegetarian food there. Not only because the Dutch are very environmentalist and kind of have been talking about plant-based and living lower on the food chain for a long time, but also there's a rich, because of their colonization, there's a rich Indonesian influx. It's funny, you in the Netherlands, in many parts of the Netherlands, you see a lot of brown-skinned people. It's really a very diverse feel in a lot of parts of the cities of Netherlands. And you discover many of these folks, not all, some of them are Surinamese, some are from Curacao, but many of them are Indonesian, okay? And some of them are South Africans. Some of them look Indian, and they are Indian descent, but they came through South Africa to Netherlands. So you get some interesting results in the Netherlands, as you do in all the colonial nations, right? Because all the folks you colonized, you better let them come set up shop. And sure enough, so that's beautiful for the food in Netherlands. It's one of the only countries, actually, you know, they have the concentration of Indonesian food. And I say that because I love Indonesian food. And I've looked for it, and you find it a little bit in Germany and Berlin. But it's funny, New York City, I've looked this up, there's really only one, maybe two Indonesian places. Think about that, New York City. But that's Netherlands. You throw a rock and you see Indonesian places, and hugely vegetarian friendly. And as you know, Laura, Indonesia is the home of tempeh. So you have some incredible Dutch dishes there, yeah. Also incredible French fries. Wow, they have stands that just sell French fries. You watch them cut the potato, put it in the hot oil, hand it to you in a paper cone with sea salt. Wow, I dream of those. fresh, delicious um, crisps or chips, as the British call them. So, who's my guest? Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. So, Laura, I'm answering your questions from 13 minutes ago. So, she's not my friend. I hope she is at some point. I messaged her without a reply yet. Sure, she's really busy. She's in New York City, and Celine has answered that. So check her out on Instagram. I put the link there, and she's really fantastic. Benny, great. You're gonna check it out when you get back. Where are you, bro? Get back from where? Are you on the island? What the? Off to see some music this weekend. I'm off to see some music. My first show is the 11th, says Sharon. Outdoor thing. Not sure seeing about. Oh, first show that you're attending. Oh boy. Well, good luck. Attention, attention, all ships at sea. Attention. Welcome to the BBC. Well, I wouldn't be talking like this, but I'm a 1930s American radio person that somehow is on the BBC. Jumping all around here, folks. But somehow food is gluing it together. And we're going to look right now at some new foods, some news in foods that's exciting. As soon as I get caught up with your questions. Okay, so Sharon's going to a show. It's outdoors. Yeah, it's a mixed bag, man. Mixed bag. A lot of people caught COVID outdoors at Sturgis. Now, most of them were unvaccinated, so that was a big science experiment. But a lot of people caught COVID outdoors at Lollapalooza. So yeah, choices. I think one of the things is how long you're in one position and kind of just getting bathed with other people's droplets as they fly around. Because outdoors you've got the wind currents which are moving much faster, so you've got this better. But if you're there for 3 days and taking a chance endlessly with another 400,000 people, obviously that increases the danger, and a lot of people walked away from Lollapalooza with an infection. So I wish you the best, and I hope sitting outdoors also includes sitting away from others and not not downwind of them, you know. So there's a lot of moving parts, but I passed on free tickets to see Primus 2 days ago. That hurt me to my heart. I've been seeing Primus since about 1989, 1990. Love the band. And I love, even more, I love Rush. And they were out doing a Rush album. And I said no to free tickets. Just didn't want to navigate the line in and the line to the bathroom and the crowd of people milling around at the exits. It's impossible. It was a 9,000 seat arena, and I almost went and said, look, let's get a ticket and walk way up to the top and just watch. But I said, you know what? I'm just exhausted, you know. And I had 3 musician friends locally, 3 musician friends test positive in the last week or so, all vaxxed, and no surprise, we know that you can catch this no matter what. And I'm sure some conspiracy person watching just went, aha, I told you vax people could catch it. First off, it's not an aha. We knew this from the beginning. They told us that it has 90-some% protection, right? And it varied. I got J&J, I think that was 88 or something. Moderna was like 90, I don't know. It's not important really. 91, 92. Hard to have an exact number. But and then they said the Pfizer was like, I think 95 or something. But in all cases they were saying this is not guaranteed. to prevent, it's like a condom. They don't guarantee condoms. It's quite useful for the large percentage of, uh, you know, um, not breaking and preventing live sperm from traveling and connecting to an egg. They're giving you general protection against that, but they don't guarantee it because the shits break, right? There's a lot of people walking around right now that were not, you know, 100% planned. But the point being, we've known from day one the vaccines would not protect a certain percent, and that percent is going down. So I have 3 musician friends right now, and so yeah, I'm personally trying to do as little as possible there. So okay, your relative Laura, vaccine was not available. I see, and this person caught it before the vaccine, and the doctor says he has enough antibiotics and shouldn't get the vaccine because of Meniere's disease. Gotcha. Unfortunately, though, the antibodies is a mixed bag. Antibodies to the alpha, to the delta, to which one? Okay, no nightshade for you. Yep, peppers and potatoes also. Somber reptiles, good. Laura Darty says, yes, Anton is in Amsterdam, right? Is he actually in Amsterdam? Okay. And yes, of course, lots of Indian, lots of Thai, lots of all the other stuff. But I bring up Indonesian because that's the unique one. You don't find those elsewhere. It's very funny. Missed show too. Oh, you missed that show too. Yeah, I've actually performed at the BBC 10 years ago. Bought tickets to shows prior to Delta. Yeah, right. You know, that's a chance, right? Yes, Nick had tickets to Primus, Laura. You're right. Yeah. Okay, great. So I'm caught up. This is fantastic. Thank you, folks, for your great and positive comments. Again, my lunch was a delicious, quick omelet of just egg. Man, that stuff still is just one of the hits of the past couple of years. And again, folks, you don't know what I'm talking about. Just Egg is a wonderful egg alternative. It's all natural. It's made from uh, mostly mung bean protein. That's it. It's a plant-based, and it comes in unfortunately a plastic bottle, recyclable, but still plastic. And we try to keep those to a minimum. But if you ever were to try it out, here's what it looks like. A little bottle of it. It's a very yellow kind of a fluid. Kind of looks like liquid eggs, like when they put them in. You buy eggs in an industrial level for a big supermarket or something. They look yellow, but because they're made from mung beans, and they claim 93% less greenhouse gases than eggs. So you have, that's the thing with carbon footprint and plastic use and stuff. You got to look at the whole picture, and you'd have to take this impressive subtraction of greenhouse gases, and find out that how much the plastic, how much the packaging impacts the environment, right? And you really want to look at the whole big picture. But the bottom line is, with plant-based foods, if they are grown in a place where it's not a water problem, right, and it's not an issue, everything's going to be in a package. So the packaging kind of cancels itself out. But then if you can go and make the source of the ingredients to be, very low impact, then you kind of have a winning thing there. So this is this company, and very science-based. They've been looking at what's inside the mung bean and how can we, how can we optimize ingredients from a simple plant food. And they're pointing out that look, there's a lot more to eat than corn and animal protein and processed sugar. We should be looking around at the 300,000 species of plants. That's over 18 billion proteins, 108 million lipids, and 4 million polysaccharides. Come on, folks, exactly. So they're looking. This company is looking at plants around the world and saying, well, what can we do with different things? And that's yes, this is a scientist looking at chemical compounds and structures. And my friend Cy Suralia, who's on here sometimes, is a perfect example of this. People who go out and get their degree, but yet have a perspective to change the world and to look at the biochemistry of it all, to look at the physics, to look at the components that are making up these nutrients and kind of say, well, how can we, optimize these? How can we find these in food sources and kind of optimize? So so I'm always excited about just egg. There it is. This shows you the texture of it. I mean, that's crazy, folks. Look at that. And there's nothing fake about it. So pretty cool. So I had some of that today and some fresh raw onions and I have some pickles. I always have pickles. Pretty light breakfast. I think I had some fruit earlier. I forget. Eating some peaches, some pears lately. Good season for all that. So, what did you have? Keep telling me what you had for lunch. I'm off to see some music. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-dum, 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 ba-da. Because of the wonderful things he does. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. That's for you, Benny. All right, so first news item of new stuff that's really cool. I'm really going to applaud. Oh, I need to make sure. Hey, Anthony Marcion, how are you, man? Anthony is on the YouTube. 3 people watching. I appreciate y'all, whoever's watching. Anthony, hello. Rock and roll. Rest in peace, Lee Scratch Perry. I know. Dude was awesome. And what did he make it to? How old is he? Well, Ed Asner just died. He was 91. Um, I think Lee was in his 80s, right? Man, never saw him live, but yeah, I really loved a lot of his tracks, and his production, man. He really that's part of it. He had that early tape decks in Jamaica, and he had kind of a delay unit and stuff like that. So he produced all the greats, right? Bob Marley and Junior Murvin. But how old was he? I think he was 80 some. 85. All right. So, it's yeah, it's really one of those losses where you go, "Wow, dude unleashed. He unleashed a bunch of other people." But Lee Scratch Perry, yeah. Rest in peace. Good reminder. I had a thing. I put a quick link on my Facebook to remind people. And Perry was 85. Yes, that's what I was just saying. Yeah. Um, um, and he worked with the McCartneys, right? He worked with everyone. Yeah. Um, I saw a thing by Money Mark posted a really nice memory on Instagram because he worked with the Beasties. He toured with the Beasties, and Money Mark befriended him. This was like in the 90s, early 90s. But I have not seen the documentary. Cool, check that out. And the but Money Mark from the Beasties, he put a beautiful thing up talking about times that he met Lee Scratch Perry on tour, and you know, yeah. All right, so let's Doctor. Well, Dr. Prager. We'll put that link up in a minute, I guess. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to talk about is you know, since we're talking about Lee Scratch Perry, let's just finish with some pictures here because uh, where is it? I wanted to share with you all since Money Mark, who's this awesome guy, and I met him at Moogfest and we hung out for a couple hours. Money Mark, of course, is the brilliant producer, keyboard player, sound creator with the Beasties. And here he is. They went on tour 25 years ago, yeah, on the tour bus. He brought Money on the tour bus. It was the first time they hung out. So this is where they met years later. But just to give an idea of these private pictures, which is always cool, because you see some different. Look at that. He's got a selfie with one of those disposable cameras. Lee always had that crown on, man. There he is. Looks like somewhere in Jamaica, where all you needed was a mixing desk and your reel-to-reel and an old delay and a pile of weed. So Money Mark is saying, look, there'd be no Mark's Keyboard Repair. That's the name of his project. Because he met Perry, saw his little 4-track, and said, I need one of those. And he did. And he got himself a little 4-track cassette, you know. But, yeah, man. That's the thing, too. Besides the music, this cat really influenced on techniques and that reggae dub kind of echo thing, you know. That doesn't sound at all like reggae, but it's a bass. So that much I'll commit to. A very dirty, distorted bass. All right, so let's go to the little news item I had here. So we get rid of Just Egg. So check this out. This is cool news that that we have going on. Ba, 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 right. La 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 la. So I had this. Oh, okay. Look at that. I will talk about the Thai place in a second too. So let's go to our little news here, and some very cool stuff. I was talking about this the other day. How Jay-Z and Beyonce, his other half, have done a lot for activism in general, right? They're always just donating, quietly writing checks to educational concerns, to social justice reform groups, to groups that are helping bring kids up, helping bring people up who have been crushed under the boot of this bullshit, man. This the class inequity in this society, the racist justice system, the white supremacy tropes that keep getting encouraged by our bureaucracy, by our system, by our justice system. The broken shit that Joe Biden was part of, right? Sorry, I voted for him, but I see things in a yin yang. There was more good than bad, and he's done some of the things I hired him for, which were to give me a well-informed, well-educated, experienced, and diverse cabinet. He's done that. At least we got to give him that. It's as diverse as it gets. Black people, Latinos, Latinas, men, women, white, European background, Asian background, African background. There's immigrant Americans in there. There's the first Native person, Deb Haaland, the first person with Native descent. Um, Interior, right? She's Secretary of Interior. Is that her position? Wow. Finally, right? Somebody with tribal background involved in the decisions that impact the tribes. What a concept. It's crazy. But is forgetting the tribe she's part of right now. But she is a wonderful story of America because she's a blend of different people that have come here. I think her dad is Finnish or Norwegian, one of the two, hence her name. Let me look. Deb Haaland is, Secretary of Interior. My old brain works. What was her dad was, so she's Laguna Pueblo. She's a member of that tribe, born in Winslow, Arizona. Oh, isn't that song? Well, I was driving down the road in Winslow, Arizona. Do. To the one is a pretty one is a friend of mine. Taking it easy. Take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own whatever that is, right? It's Eagles, right? Hey, Winslow, Arizona. Folks, I can turn most things into a song. That already was a song. Anyway, she's Pueblo. Her mom, Mary Toya, served in the U.S. Navy. How about that? Her father was an officer in the United States Marine Corps. His name was John Dutch Halland. He's a Norwegian Minnesotan. So what a nice story. She's got all these people, and the Norwegians and the Scandinavians, they went up to, especially Minnesota, Wisconsin, all these places that look like fjords. How about that? The Dutch and the Germans went to Pennsylvania and Virginia, where kind of has that flat with a bit of rolling hills vibe, like Germany and the Netherlands. You go through Pennsylvania and everything, not everything, but many things have German names, right? All the burgs are in Pennsylvania, and there's a Vienna, and there's all this stuff. There's the Pennsylvania Dutch, which is really Deutsch, but there's Dutch folks also, but a lot of Germans. So there's a book about this where Americans, people who became Americans, coming from these different European places, the people who came here by choice, tended to pick parts of the country that felt a little bit like home. So where I live, actually in the Highlands are near here, and we're in the Appalachian, it's a lot of Scots. It looks like Scotland, some of this part of this world, with the rolling hills and the big, big open fields with the valleys, and some of it feels like Scotland, like Ireland too, and that's who settled here. So I don't know. Someone wrote about this that's smarter than me, but the Norwegians up in the Minnesota, Wisconsin area. So somehow we got to Deb Haaland, but we're talking about the positive changes that happened in November. It was a mixed bag, but I'm all in. So let's see. Backing up, the Portland show. Okay, so I'm sorry to hear that, but I hear you, Kevin. The Upsetter. Okay, so I have to see that documentary. Thanks for that note. Please put a link to that documentary if you have one, Sharon. Um, Lovely pick of Mark and Perry. Um, that's right. There is also right a first trans woman in the cabinet. That's correct. I think like a medical position of some sort. I forget what position. Deb Haaland, Native American. I'm allergic to that phrase myself. I don't call them Native Americans because they weren't. It wasn't America. I know there's a battle in those groups, and just like I'm listening to Hispanic and Latino and Latina people who prefer those terms to Latinx and Latine. Is that the new one with an E on the end? Folks, when you ask those actual folks, something like 97% of them say, just call me Hispanic. Just call me Latino, Latina. But I'll call people whatever they want. If someone says, I want Latinx, then I will do that. But for the masses, I have to go with what they prefer. Likewise, Native American, there's people of tribal descent who say, yes, I'm fine with that. There's others who are fine with Indian. But there's an increasing amount who push back on that. And they say, no, I'm not American. This was not America. Stop it. Some guy came here and took our land that we'd been at a long time. I mean, no one owns land, but you know what I mean. They quite provably seem to be the first humans in this part of the of our globe, and we know that there's a land bridge, and we know there's an Asian connection, and certainly these folks oftentimes look like they came from Asia, right? I mean, some people of native descent in what's now the USA. I have friends who are, I have a friend who's Laotian. I have other friends who are Bhutanese. I have friends who, one friend's married to a Tibetan woman. And a lot of times you go, oh, wow, I met someone in North Dakota who's tribal and they look just like you. So, anyway, my point is um, um, just an idea for us to ponder that maybe we, let's go the extra mile and learn that they're Laguna Pueblo, which is what Deb Haaland is. She's a Laguna Pueblo. Yeah, I think it it diminishes them in a way to just lump them all in. Native American. No, they are Iroquois or Apache or Lakota or Irin. I always say that one wrong. I won't say that. I won't say it because I can't pronounce it. It's one of the long ones with a POIS at the end. But anyway, the Alleghenies and the Blackfeet and all these different names, that Cree, right, and the Cherokee. I live right in Cherokee country, and I think if we encourage kids to go that extra mile and find out, well, what tribe, then they might look it up and they might learn, oh my God, they suffered this genocide, or they moved here, or they might find out about the Trail of Tears. So anyway, just my little annoying take on things, which is what I do. Um, so yeah, first trans woman. Yes, that's Rachel Levine, right, or Levine. I'm not sure how that is said, but Assistant Secretary of Health. Yeah. Okay, great. There's the. Thank you. I'll find that movie. Awesome. All right. Well, going back to some news, as I keep teasing that there's some cool news that I thought was like, wow, this is unbelievable. And what that news is about Jay-Z. I've set it up now a couple times, so let's take a look at the news item, and it's Jay-Z's been investing in different things, different business ventures, and doing a lot of plant-based stuff the last couple of years. So this is just a news item from 3 or 4 days ago. There's Jay-Z showing off his nostrils. Nostradamus is our nickname for a friend of ours. But anyway, look at this. He's helping, and I suppose maybe Beyonce and him invest in different things, but they're not mentioning her here. But look at that. NBA All-Star Chris Paul also has been very outspoken for for plant-based life. And look at this. The person who wrote this article has more letters than my name, which is always a relief. Anna Starostinetskaya. Sounds Russian, or at least Eastern European. So anyway, you can read this article. I put the link in the good old chat. But it's really cool because Jay-Z has helped them raise $3 million in investment money, and also Chris Paul and also a branding firm. So this is a company making vegan cheese spreads, cashew milk, almond milk, herbs, spices, all plant-based. Wonderful. 8 different flavors: black truffle, rigotte. There's a lox flavor. It's funny. I've never really had lox, so I never know if something is close, but unimportant. But yeah, pretty cool. Look at that. A lovely, diverse group of people. I love it. And they're working on plant-based life. Look at that, folks. All ages, all shades of people, all genders. Fantastic. And part of the story. So anyway, Jay-Z, but also Oprah Winfrey, Natalie Portman, a lot of people with money are throwing down to invest in plant-based foods. It's really exciting. This is the guy that does the oat milk, right? Oh no, this is Chris Paul, right? The basketball star, Chris Paul, and he's full on, and he's been doing a lot of stuff. I've seen his name a few times. And what's great also, folks, is, as I said before, like it or not, there's young people who watch basketball and they're fans of Kyrie Irving or DeAndre Jordan or JaVale McGee or Chris Paul. They are fans of these athletes. Like it or not, that's what people have done forever, right? Whether it's Babe Ruth or whether they were a big fan of Paganini in the 1800s or whatever, 1700s, whether they would line up to see Beethoven. So in the music world, it goes back and back and back. And they would line up to see someone playing the kora in the middle of Ghana or Senegal, somebody playing a sitar in the middle of what became Mumbai. So people love artists. They love people that they can look up to for different things. The gladiators in ancient Rome, they were heroes, right? People lauded them. So you come to today, young kids like their favorite skateboarder or their favorite musician or all kinds of, whatever art they're into. So if they like these basketball players, fantastic. If the basketball player is doing some really cool positive stuff. Not so fantastic if they're smoking crack, because you don't want the kids to be influenced that way. So you have some but it's really great that there's so many athletes right now that are donating to the HBCUs and donating to animal rights and donating to, just positive options, right? Anyway, check that out. There's always great news here on Veg News, and I'm here all the time, and I'm always excited when, in the commercial world, which I know is not the end all be all, but in that world, it is exciting to see some some new directions, right? Some new ideas. So, Basam, do you like movies about gladiators, Bobby? Is that's from Airplane, right? For a minute, I thought it was National Lampoon, but it's Airplane, isn't it? Bassam, boy, you're a fool. They'll never change. Um, do you like movies? What's the one in National Lampoon though? It's the guy. It's the jazz bass player, and he wakes up too early. Do you like? Can you say bass? Well, bass, yeah. Would you like to go to the Magic Kingdom? It's a little early for me, Matt. I remember when I was 14, that was the funniest joke. And now that I'm 56, it's about the third funniest joke. But it's still that's a good one when he asks, "Would you like to go to the Magic Kingdom?" Yeah, no, man, it's a little early for me. That was so funny when you were a child because you were in on the in joke that they meant marijuana. So okay, so there's some good news there. Jay Z and the latest plant-based thing. We have a couple of cool little news items. But I also want to detour and anyone in New Jersey. I'm talking to you, Laura. I'm talking to you, Dean Matson, who's sometimes here. I'm talking to you, Ryan Walsh, who's sometimes here. Um, so in Hazlitt, New Jersey, a place that scarred me for years. Well, it wasn't that bad, but the scar. The place was bad. What a bunch of right wingers and racists I went to high school with, and just kind of just kept my head down and got through it. I had some really good friends, and I thank them to this day. My handful of friends, 5 or 6 people, that got me through. I was attacked by racists. I was called names. I was called the N word. I was sucker punched one time. I almost lost sight in my left eye because of a racist. Very sad. Very sad. I forget the guy's name right now. Um, anyway, um, cornered me with a couple of his friends, like 4 or 5 of his buddies. Cornered a friend of mine, and I were walking home, and sucker punched me in my left eye. Cracked the orbit, the little the cup that holds your eyeball, kind of. It's a bone, and mine was cracked underneath. Cracked my orbit. I went home in pain and in tears. It was at night. I just kind of crept into my bedroom and maybe I put some ice on my eye, and I went to sleep. Didn't tell my mom. Didn't just fucking like wow. That is wow. That was my first at age. You know, I must have been 15, 16. My first physical encounter with complete blind white supremacy racism. I'd heard it, I'd seen it. I'd gone through the hazing on the soccer team, on the soccer field, people trying to get me to drink a can that had urine in it, people leaving notes. Yeah, you know, you saw this shit. But it was the first time I got a fist in my face from a racist. Jerry Walsh, that's his name, Jerry Walsh. And I'm sorry, my dear friend Ryan Walsh has the same name, but and this guy. So anyway, so I get home, I go home, I wake up in the morning, and I can't see. My left eye is a white, cloudy, like a milky. Oh my God! I think back to that. When you wake up and you can't fucking see, folks, that is some dark shit. So I had this white cloudy, and I thought I was blinded. I thought I was blind. I freaked the fuck out. So then I told my mother, and she was like, "How did you not tell me?" You know. And so we went to the hospital, and I found X-rays and stuff. Had a cracked orbit, and fortunately, of course, they said, you know, you will see, you know, you will get to see again, and you know, I obviously I made it for years though, a solid easy decade, maybe even 15 years or more. I would have a dozen years, let's say. I would have when it was rainy, when it was a high pressure kind of weather system, I would feel the pressure on one side, and I would get like congestion on one. So I became very alert actually of um, how congestion works. Because I would get it on one side but not the other. I became acutely aware of the sinus. I would look at pictures all the time, understanding the sinus and the cavities behind. Uh, but I made it, folks. I'm lucky. A lot of people were not lucky when they met a racist late at night. Um, you know, yeah. And there's someone out there is probably going, "I'm white and I faced racism." Yeah, no one denies that, but it's important to point out the relative numbers here, and how much of that racism is institutionalized. See, that's the thing. A lot of white people have faced racism, but usually not from a bank. Usually not from the justice system. Usually. And that gets left out. Usually not from an apartment rental office. So there's all kinds of other stuff. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling here, and I got off on tearing into Hazlitt. Jersey. It's different now, folks. It's 2021. A lot of things have changed. I'm talking about 40 years ago. Um, Laura Darty, you went to school, same school we went. You probably saw some jock football macho bullshit, right? Oh boy. So anyway, on the good side, I've put the link there to, and again, no connection with this place and the old Hazlitt. This is about the new Hazlitt that has a lot of diversity now, a lot more. I've been there in over the years. A lot more black people there, a lot more Indian people, a lot more Asian people, a lot more just folks from brown skinned people who I don't know where they're from, but most likely they're Central American or South American or from the islands. So you have it like a lot of America, which is what's upsetting certain people. It's finally, a bit more of a diverse community. One of the things about that diverse community is they have this wonderful Thai place, and it's called A's Thai. So Laura, if you've not been here, Ryan Walsh, if you've not been here, Dean, my man, if you're ever over in Route 36 in Hazlitt, here it is, A's Thai and Barbecue. And again, it's not exclusively vegetarian by a long shot, but very veg friendly. I mean, look at that plate. Other than the satay, which could be anything, tofu or tempeh, look at that. It's vegetarian otherwise, right? This one too. Take the beef out, make that tofu, bam. Onions, carrots, parsley, cilantro, noodles. The pad thai, take the shrimp out, bam. It's vegetarian. So they're very veg friendly in that any of these dishes with flesh, you have the choice. There's one that's all veggie, naturally. It's just a little Thai salad. But they do have a beautiful thing on their menu where you can pick and choose. So my good friend's brother, Steve, he was teaching English in Thailand. He met I need to learn how to say her name. Oh, there it is. Hey. Okay, rhymes with hey. So A. Thank you. Thanks for putting that there. So he met A. They fell in love, got married, moved back to the USA. Look at that. Or moved to the USA. She wasn't here. And they opened a restaurant. There we go. Hot, fresh, delicious Thai dishes. And Steve makes a mean mesquite smoked barbecue. So they have both things here. His brother Rick works at the front. Carnivores, vegans, vegetarians, and gluten-free can all rejoice. Look at that. Really great. Great reviews. So please check them out. If you're anywhere near Route 36 in Hazlitt, these are good friends of mine. I don't know A. I'd like to meet her one day. And next time I'm in Jersey, I promise to go here. But I know Steve and uh, his brother Rick. We used to play in a band together, and we've done a lot of music together. But anyway, check them out. They have all the great classic stuff. You know, you got your red curry, green curry, masaman curry, and in all cases, you can make it with chicken, pork, veggie, or tofu. Likewise, the stir fries. Really, everything. Just everything they make, they do it in a beautiful way where the noodles and then the ginger, the carrots, the scallions, the green beans, all that stuff is kind of the base recipe, and then you just go with what you want to add: chicken, pork, veggie. So you got the idea. A lot of places do it that way, and that's really awesome. So, and they have, if everyone, it's one of these places you can take everyone, which is always kind of cool. Um, someone who's, as it says on the top there, someone who's gluten free or vegan or vegetarian or they're carnivore. Um, so there you have it. Anyway, just wanted to do a little plug there because sometimes we talk about Hazlitt and we diss it, but there's a new Hazlitt that's a bunch better than the old one. and my dear friends have that restaurant. So yeah, I know a few of you are in that area. So check that out. All right, going back, seeing if you're any of your questions here. Laura says, "What a loser, Jerry. Whoever. Yes, fuck him. Shitty white people. Some of them are exactly, and they're just for the naysayer who's lurking here, I will say." We hear you. There's shitty people of all races, of course. No one here is saying only whites are racist. What's annoying with the naysayers is they pretend that's what you're saying. Yeah. No, we're just focusing on where the predominant behavior in the USA has been for 400 years, and we're trying to address it. But yes, there's racist Indians, there's racist blacks, there's racist Puerto Ricans, there's racist Chinese, there's everybody. Everyone's got a few in their group. We're talking about the systemic stuff when we talk about it. I hate that you have to make people feel better that that can't get critical race theory, but I guess we have to. Anyway, Laura says, yes, he's a loser. I hope his prick falls off. Yeah, that's good. Uh, Hazlitt bites, definitely. I think that's what you're saying. You saw racist stuff in Hazlitt. But who am I, a white girl driving a vintage Corvette? I know. And you still faced it. But, you knew better. You have not been to A's. Please check them out, Laura. And you know Rick. He's the bass player from Project Object. Yeah, he was not the original. The original was a guy named Stan Lahavich, who I think lives in that area still. Runs a bike shop up in Highland Park. Co-runs. But Rick was the bass player, and I know you've met him along the way, seeing us early on at the Brighton Bar and all that. So you recognize Rick. He works the front, and his brother Steve works the back. So go say hi and tell them that you're friends, and encourage the vegan items. Give it a vetting and a test out some noodles for me. Review them. So we've got Tobias. Wow. What's up, Tobias and Michael? Saying hi. Good to hear that, my good friends. Feeding Tobias apple cobbler. That's good. I love it. Feed him. Make sure you're playing some King's X, because that makes him settle down. That makes him calm down. If he's getting a little caffeinated, just put on little King's X and he relaxes. Candy made apple cobbler. That's awesome. Sounds great. Uh, Route 35, not 36. Oh, okay. But isn't the restaurant on 36? I think it is. I mean, 35 goes through Hazlitt, right? But I thought the place was on. Okay, yeah. You've been there, then you know. Where's 36? Oh, 36 is 36 the other one? Yeah, I'm confused now. Oh, they're not in the airport plaza anymore. Okay, sorry, they moved. Okay, because they were in a different spot. I didn't know they moved. All right. Um, have you eaten there, Eric? It sounds like it. Um, that's awesome. Wow. See, I would have went to the wrong place. They used to be over by IEI, over in Airport Plaza. So okay, awesome. Okay, so Kevin says, um, don't apologize for your logical choice of reason. I voted for someone yeah, who's not a blatant. Uh, yes, they intersect. Eric's explaining that to other people, of course, because I grew up in Hazlitt. I know they intersect. But all I didn't know was that the restaurant moved. I stand corrected, because it used to be over on this other place. Um, uh, Blatant megalomaniac criminal. Yeah, common sense. Very, very true, Kevin Ritchie. By doing so, you become a silent collaborator. You never earn my respect. I love your attitude. Highest level of esteem amongst us animals. Well, that's very kind of you, Kevin. You know, uh, the one line I'll take issue with is that anyone who doesn't allow or choose inoculation is an imbecile. I'm putting quotes, folks. I'm quoting someone here. Um, I don't know if I agree with that. My personal experience, I know it's getting close to 10, but I know 6 or 8 people right now that I'm thinking of that I've been in touch with in the last 10 days who are refusing to get inoculated, and they're not imbeciles. They're some of them are ignorant of the facts, which is different, right? Some of them are impudently refusing to look at any other information that's outside their circle of bias confirmation. But they're not imbeciles. That I think we're going into a bad place there if we say definitively. Um, there's doctors not getting inoculated. They're not imbeciles. Some of them have PhDs and a medical degree and another degree. So that gets tricky, man. We got to stop saying that they're imbeciles. They're wrong, right? They have. They're wrong if we look at things through the lens of public health, right, and the health of the millions of people in your state or your city or whatever. But they're not. I don't think they're imbeciles, and we should really take that apart. But anyway, I agree that um, you know that they certainly should be concerned about public health. Um, we're talking about some fun stuff today, and I got some other veg news and stuff like that. I got some cool pictures of some food that we always do, but I want to send a shout out to the people suffering in uh, Afghanistan, right? What a nightmare. Uh, that's just fucking crazy. But how about Louisiana though? Right here at home, they're lucky because I mean it's horrible, but it could have been worse. So it is, and we're facing a flash flood warning right here where I'm sitting right now. My feet may be wet in 24 hours because we get rain, we get floods in this basement when it's really, really bad. We we get some water. So I'm ready, and I showed it last week. I don't have one next to me, but I use these things called quick dams that are incredible, like sandbags that soak up water, and I have them in the spots where I know that water has come in, hoping for the best. Um, so anyway, in New Orleans, some of the parishes could be down for weeks without water, right? Because some of these power lines actually went down. So there's physical damage that the you know hurricane has done. So wow, our heart goes out to them, and I this is where I want my tax dollars to go and help people, and National Guard and pulling people out of flooded areas, and this is it, folks. This is where the great uh, uh, um, person power of our military and National Guard and first responders. This is great. This is where you feel good that we fund that stuff. What sucks is funding 2 decades of ridiculous war in Afghanistan. And just think of how much more money we'd have to rebuild Louisiana once again, or New Orleans area, those parishes. How nice it would be to have even more resources for the now homeless people, because of this weather thing, which is partially something we're helping to build. We're helping to increase. Okay. So let's see. I just wanted to check on that because I saw a headline, but yeah. Uh, just looking at what's happening in New Orleans, the governor just yeah. I mean, you see this news too. I'm not gonna just do New Orleans news, but I just wanted to nod to them and kind of say, give thanks, folks. If you're in a house and the roof's not falling and you're dry, then you're doing better than, um, you know, some folks right now. So it's sad. Um, all right. Comments, thoughts. Um, all right. After this period of time, says Kevin, people should know better and accept reality. That's, I know, bro. Who can disagree with that sentence, right? What a beautiful sentence. After this period of time, people should know better and accept reality. I know, bro, but wow, that opens a can of worms. People have been saying that for centuries, right? Looking at cults and you know religions and mythologies about talking snakes and you know bushes that talk and you know all kinds of stuff, right? Um, hydras and all kinds of mythical creatures and things that people believe are real and prayed to and made statues of. And there was always someone saying what you're saying, Kevin. Wow, people should know better and accept reality. It's the year 670 AD, and how are people still believing XYZ, right? But they just do. So I've taken to understanding that the existence of religious zealotry explains why people are running around believing completely fantastical stuff now about science and whatever, vaccines and ivermectin and everything. And I don't say that to slight or insult anyone that's spiritual or anyone that's choosing. Not at all. If you have a spirituality that gets you through the day, fantastic. Have at it. Leave it at my doorstep. I don't want you making laws or if I do, I want you making laws where there's somebody secular able to debate you and to come up with some middle ground so that your rights are protected and our rights are protected. That's democracy. You know, I saw a brilliant line on SVU the other day. Um, it was spoken by Finn Tuatola, the character played by Ice-T, of course, right? One of my favorite rappers from back in the early 90s when that shit came out. It was like, wow, Ice-T. He was, people make fun of him, but he pushed the envelope, man. You talk about freedom of speech, shut up, and OG, all those early records. Um, he um, he had a lot of great shit to say about the justice system and whatnot, which inspired me to this day. But on the show the other day, he said, it was an old episode from 2001 or something, and he said, someone said, it's a free country, and because they wanted to do whatever bullshit as he was arresting them, and he said, this is going to shock some people on the sentence, but then you think about it. He said, no, it's actually not a free country. It's a democracy. And the majority of us have decided the shit you're doing should be snuffed out. And it was like a child abuser of some sort. The whole show is about crimes of a sexual nature. But it was a brilliant thought, and it stuck with me for a couple of days because I'm going, you're right. We're not a free country. I mean, we are, but that's been abused to the point of where when people say that today, they mean infinitely free. They mean do whatever I want, right? Don't tread on me. The kind of idea is, the unspoken idea is, I have infinite freedom. I will do whatever I want. And what's interesting is, no, you're not in a place that allows that. You're in a democracy. You're in a republic. I mean, there's a couple ways to define the United States. We have citizen representation, right? That's the whole ball of wax of the Constitution is this difficult way of representing each person, but also as a group. So balancing the individual rights. You have the Bill of Rights, which all kind of address these individual things, but try to balance that we have millions of people that are sharing this space. Many more today than when they wrote these laws. So 331 million, I think, is where we sit with the most recent compromised census. And so I'm starting to roll that around in my head. And I'm starting to think about what a fictional character on a TV show doesn't mean it's not really food for thought. But the idea that, we're actually not infinitely free. We are a democracy. And so to Kevin's point, public health should be, should be more of a priority. Sharon, you say you've got a friend who's a cardiologist and they struggle with anti-vax situations. Yeah. She's a brilliant scientist, doctor. Yeah, and she's struggling with, obviously, not obviously, but sounds like with her patients and, her patients and maybe colleagues and other healthcare workers. 7 decades of drug wars. I know, bro. Eric Spalgard's weighing in on how much wasted money and effort we've had. I know. Fortunately, that's coming in for a landing, right? We got half the states are legal, or almost. I know it was 22 when I most recently checked. I'm sure it's close to half now. Even my state, I say even because I shouldn't say that, though, because it's legal in Virginia, which is far more conservative. But we have it, and, yeah. Kevin says, life and death in our own civilized culture. If they don't accept the facts, they have mental disability in that if they accept the death of their own brethren. Yeah, no, you're raising some hardcore, difficult points there. They have mental disability. That's a tough one. Yeah. Well, you still love and understand my point. Likewise, my friend. Still love you. I understand your point. But I really want to tease that out, and I want people to think about this. I want people to think about how far does it get? Just calling everybody who won't get a vaccine mentally ill, as you said, or I forgot what you said before, but what did you call them? Let me get it right so I don't misquote. Um, Imbecile. I. That's a tough one. Imbecile has a pretty clear definition. There's incredibly smart people. I have a friend who's a naturopath. He's a medical expert in that field, and I think he's an osteopath. Sorry, and a chiropractor. So he's a well-trained, intelligent man, and he won't get the shot. And um, again, I'm trying to meet you halfway, Kevin. There's a bunch of adjectives I use for my dear friend. Um, Bro, you're fucking flat wrong. I mean, that works. Uh, you're being irresponsible. You are a healthcare professional who is letting some individual ideas of dubious probative nature, is that the right phrase? Of varying factual value, you're letting that supersede the larger picture, which would be everyone in the country, everyone in the state, county, the city, the town. This is that gets to the core of what's going on here, folks. You have a lot of folks who look at things and say, "No, my individual rights are the absolute paramount." And that's actually not what the Constitution says. It says protecting very many of those rights is certainly part of the paramount, but the safety and security of the nation is obviously number one, and then it gets into the Constitution gets into, well, how do we get that, and so economic stability and not having us running around killing each other, there's a bunch of stuff that flows down from that. But the rights of the individual, the protection of the rights of the individual, while it's paramount, you have this yin yang of, no, it's not, if you're interrupting the flow of prosperity and safety and access to choice of everyone else. And access to choice cuts both ways. You can apply that to a woman's choice to choose health care of whatever type. But you also apply it to a legal adult with the paperwork's choice to own a firearm, right? They're both protected under the first two amendments, right? The First Amendment, freedom of speech, is basically what Roe v. Wade was argued on. And the Second Amendment, which has those words the gun people almost always leave out, well regulated. They always skip over that, right? But the Second Amendment, so the first two amendments are fascinating because a lot of people who love the first one are angry at the second one. And a lot of people who love the second one leave out all the words, and they're mad at the first one if it's a football player kneeling and giving a knee, or someone in a any number of things. They get really mad, Anyway, interesting stuff. Laura Darty says C. C, you want to see? There we go. A little more sustained for you. There's a C, Laura. And it's modulating a little bit. There's your C. Okay, continuing with questions. Give me some food here, folks. Sharon asks, what's the flood situation? Okay. Well, we're under a flood warning starting tomorrow. Let me take a look at my weather app. By the way, I'm maintaining because I gotta. Man, shit pops right up. Air quality is 106. The AQI, air quality index, unhealthy for sensitive groups. I don't know what's causing that, but Tuesday and Wednesday we've got an 80% chance of rain, so that means shit's gonna come down, and that's because of we're getting the tail end of this place, this not place, this hurricane that's hitting our area. Let's see. Let's see. Veggie pad thai. That's great. I love it. That must be delicious, Laura. You've been cooking the whole time. Fantastic. I love that I'm the soundtrack to your cooking. So that's the flood answer, Sharon. Thanks for asking. The next county over had a bunch of people missing 2 weeks ago in the floods. A lot of mobile homes swept away. A lot of smaller homes highly damaged. It was sobering because we were right there in that county when we went to the farm sanctuary. If you remember, 2 weeks ago, I did a day on the farm sanctuary, and we did some fundraising, right? And we sent them some money. We encouraged you all to send some money. Thank you. Many people were kind and did that. But it was a little chilling because we were right there when it went down. I'm sorry, we were right there where it went down. 20 minutes, 30 minutes from where we are. And we were right in the heart of what flooded. Just 2 days after we were there, it flooded. And we saw the pictures. We were like, holy shit. The highway's out, right where we were going. So it's that close. Crossing our fingers, the river is right over there. I'm pointing towards the river. I can walk and be at the river walking would take me, 20 some minutes. If I jumped in my car, I'd be at the river in just minutes, under 10 minutes. And so we're right here, man. We went and looked at where it had flooded. We walked in the park the other day by the river, which we love, and you could see the water line, the mud line. Pretty shit is real. So this show is going for another 10, 15 minutes, but I'm still in the cleanup mode from the last time. I'm still throwing shit out, getting good things and giving them away. I am making space so that when the waters come, I don't have as much shit. And I certainly don't have any shit on the ground. I'm looking around now. I'm pretty close. I've got some power supplies that I need to get off the ground. But I almost have a flood, I wouldn't say flood proof, but a flood friendly studio. So Laura, you're adding garlic chives to your pad thai right from the garden. Oh, that's delicious. Bassam says that Hurricane Ida is a weather weapon started by Fauci. I knew it. That's the HARP program, right, bro? Remember HARP? I love it. Jam must love her walkies. No, Jam doesn't have shoes. Actually, we haven't set her up with shoes. Yeah. So that's no, you're right. Bassam, do you remember HARP? It's the what's it stand for? Let me test my young conspiracy theorist memory. It stands for High Altitude Auroral High Altitude Auroral Research Program. High something like that. Let me look it up. High Altitude Auroral Research Program. Okay, here it is. No, I was wrong. It's the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. So I was 4/5 of the way there. I got the first A wrong. But let's see. I mean, go read about it if you don't know. Wikipedia is always a good starting point. People haters can hate, but I love Wikipedia because at least there's sources for everything they're preventing, and you can click and see the links and see, well, where was that? So yeah, check that out, Basam. You'll love it. There's the link. So HARP goes back to the late '80s, early '90s when I was reading uh, Nexus magazine, which is an excellent magazine actually. A lot of really good science stuff in there. And the fringe stuff, they would put quotes around it. They'd say, "Hey, what's going on here?" But it got a little wacky, and definitely the ads were lots of copper bracelets and you know how to make your own colloidal silver and the hollow earth and Rosicrucians and all that kind of stuff. Which, not throwing any shade, I'm always willing to learn. Folks have some knowledge there. Let's talk about it. So anyway, check them out, Basam. Harp. That's a good starting point. Just you could start there, and that Wikipedia page discusses the the conspiracy part of it, and it's a real thing. It's a real government experimental thing to do with the atmosphere and understanding weather. But the conspiracy people say it was a way to shoot lasers in the sky and bounce them off the ionosphere. And anyway, you'll love it because it's right up their tree. That Fauci and everyone, you know. Okay, so Kevin says, "Oh, you're in a near-death situation from two of your cardiologists. Oh, because they used the wrong catheter tool. Oh, bro. Yeah, brilliant yet prone to error. Thank you. That's an important sentence because we have to remember brilliance doesn't mean infallible. You're placing the real blame, and as you said, such is life, but it sucks, man. And I hope you have some economic recourse. I hope you. That's where you get some money back, man. That's some lawsuit shit. Are you serious? Yeah, man. I hope you got a court case with these cardiologists who allegedly have done the wrong thing. I don't want to mess your case up. It's only alleged, but please, um, yeah, please, your fair recourse to that. Sorry to hear that. So sorry. Man. Wow. Well, I'm gonna wrap up just shortly, folks, and I've got um working on some cool guests. I have a guest in a couple weeks. We're gonna, I always love to talk about fermentation, right? I always love to talk about pickles and sauerkraut, and I love pickled beets and pickled cabbages and all these things. So I'm gonna close with some talk about pickles and kimchi and pickles, pickles, pickles. I love it. I've been eating a lot of these, brine cured cucumber pickles, your classic pickle. But I have some sauerkraut, which I'm gonna go have early dinner with some kale, some sauerkraut. The real Anne Frank menu, right? Uh, the real shtetl menu, which we love around here. Simple foods, humble foods. We eat a lot of cabbage. We eat a lot of kale, and we steam it. Sometimes it's raw in a salad, but we love to steam it. Put it in soup. Put it with noodles or something Asian. Put it in the stir fry. Greens, greens, greens. So good. And we get them every week in our produce box. And I talk about the produce box all the time. I remind you all, look around for local sources where you live. Local produce. If you're lucky, there's a farm market near you. Not everyone is fortunate with that. But in most of America, right? In most of America, even in the cities, people come in, they drive in at 5 in the morning to set up at these farm markets, which you see in your New York Cities, your Bostons, your LAs, your San Franciscos, your Chicagos. your Pittsburghs, your Clevelands, all the big cities I've been. I always hear about farm markets, and I encourage you to support these farmers. They are often have come from your state. You might get some food that's only 2 hours away where they source it. So it's really important to send that message. So in a couple weeks, I'm going to be talking to the folks from Serotonin Ferment. Really cool local company. They make delicious sauerkraut and all these great pickles and stuff. So just loving it. So all of those things are I'm going to pivot to talking a bit more about building our immunity. And I want to respect. I've got some of these friends on here who are very, you know, anti-vax and and I respect you. I do. I respect. I think it's okay to have questions. It's really okay, folks. It's always okay. I'm a teacher by nature, and I've taught. When I say that, what do you mean, Andre? Well, hopefully, I'm a teacher on this show. I've been doing this now, 14 months. It's been great. I think every single Monday. I don't think I've missed one yet. Maybe one for some good reason, but I don't think so. But it's been a real joy to come on here, have some back and forth with you folks, share some recipes, share the joy of all food, and the gratitude that we have for being able to have food. A lot of people don't have access to food. And that's less and less in our world. That's the good news, right? We're really approaching mass starvation pretty well. But it's been spectacular. But I want to make sure that I dial in a little bit more of what I started on a lot last year, which was looking for the word optimization, I guess. Optimizing your immunity. And I like to be careful and phrase it that way because I don't like to use the word perfect in that case but optimizing, because your immunity depends on your genetics, any kind of situational stuff you're having, systemic stuff you're having, and then it depends on your choices. It depends on your age, of course. There's some stuff you can't change, right? Your genes, your age, certain other things, some blood type stuff, and that's really kind of under the umbrella of genetics. But you can change other stuff. You can change your weight. You can change your intake of nutrients, how many calories and what qualitative value those calories have around them. A calorie is a calorie technically. The burnable energy, and you can get into all kinds of math and physics there. But there's a difference with where you're getting it, right? Everyone understands that. But optimizing your immune system is something we can do a lot of work with. And this whole show is about that, really. If you go more into a plant-based diet, just accidentally, you will enhance your immune system, almost guaranteed. Unless you really blow it and you're just eating packaged, frozen Amy's pot pies and frozen burritos and tofu fingers and all this kind of processed stuff. If that's all you're eating, then you're not going to do that much. But if going plant-based for you has meant, hey, you know what? I eat more fresh fruit. I really wasn't before. I'm eating an apple a day. I'm eating a few pears and peaches a week. I'm eating some watermelon, some honeydew melon, things I don't usually eat. I know what a mango tastes like now. Pineapple, fresh. If that's been part of your journey, then you are building your immune system. If part of your journey has been to look at your grains and say, what am I doing? The only grain I'm getting is this white flour bread that I get because it's on sale. I'm in a bad habit here. I grab it every time I'm in the supermarket. Look at the ingredients. What am I doing? If this show has inspired you to look at that and maybe get some whole grain bread, maybe bake your own bread, maybe look at ingredients and pick something that's only 7 ingredients on the bread instead of 32, then that's great. That means you've done some stuff for your immune system. It really is. Um, you know, check, check, 1 2. Being asked to turn my volume up. Check, check, 1 2. Is that better? So, I'm just saying. Again, I'm here to hopefully inspire people to build their immune system a little bit. And thank you, Meg, for letting me know my volume's a little off. Is that better? Is that cool? So anyway, just some thoughts there. That we're going to talk more and more about immune system and building that immune system. Let's crank that up a little bit more. Every musician's dream to be told, "Turn it up, turn it up." Ah, yeah! It's freedom rock. Is that freedom rock? Well, turn it up. Come on. All right, let's get rid of the echo there. No need for that. So, all right, ending on a note of pickles and sauerkraut, kombucha, kimchi, tempeh, miso, tamari, wine. Do you like wine? Wine's a good fermented food. You've heard that all your life. They recommend wine for heart healthy and digestion, and that's why the French this and that. That's why the Italians this and that. Yes, wine is a great plant-based fermented food. There, I said it. Now, ironically, some of you who love dairy, the there's an argument for true, raw, organic milk that's turned into things like kefir and what's the one in Iceland called? I forget. Skyr or something like that. I can't remember. That might be the brand name. So there's kefir and yogurt and all these things that are made from raw organic milk that is fermented, right? I really want to draw the line there, and I always do, though. Those foods are not what you get in the supermarket or even Whole Foods. They're not raw. They're pasteurized. They are denatured versions of. So, if you really, really feel like you want those kind of foods, find out how to make them. Find someone like the Amish or something if you happen to live in Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, that area where you can, Virginia a little bit, where you can find Amish people who make a lot of these raw cow and goat milk products. But otherwise, you're really not getting any kind of microorganism boost from dairy. Sad to say, folks, it's dessert. Yogurt is dessert, and hey, enjoy it as dessert, but don't eat yogurt thinking, yeah, I'm helping my intestinal flora here. Almost impossible. I mean, I'm sure you can bring me a brand that's certified. Maybe there are brands that add cultures after the milk pasteurization and all that, but sadly, most brands are not. They're pasteurized for a longer shelf life after they've been made into the fermented cheese or yogurt or kefir. So you got to be careful with that. But where you can be certain you're getting live, high enzymatic, food content is if you find the easiest one is go to any natural food store, whether it's Whole Foods or even your supermarket or anywhere that now you find this stuff, and just find something that says raw, cultured, organic kraut, sauerkraut, pickles, things like that. The more you can find them raw and unpasteurized and cultured, the more you can find that kind of stuff on the menu, you're going to get these millions of organisms, digestive, assisting microorganisms that your gut will love, that your stomach will love. So that's something I'm going to talk about more and more, especially as we get into this next season of having to build our immune systems again. I mean, we're always building it, but to have it be the headline again, where we'd better look at this another wave of kind of viral activity and say, and this is a nod to my friends who don't like the vaccine, because many of you that don't like the vaccine, if some of you are watching right now, you're right. We should be emphasizing human immunity. The part that's funny for me is I'm always encouraging that. So it's just funny to have people come at me and say, Andre, I can't believe you got the vaccine instead of working on your natural immunity. I am. I can hold both thoughts. So building immunity is something I'm going to touch base on more and more and more. And I'm drinking, by the way, some yerba mate in Perrier. Interesting combination. I like yerba mate. It's a nice, even type of caffeine buzz. Kevin Ritchie, thank you for hanging around, my friend. I think you're gone by now, but either way, thank you. So, all right. So we're gonna look at one more thing here, which is, if I can pull this up, it's pretty incredible. Okay, let me see if I can show this. Jeez, that's loud. Were you all hearing that? Let me just see where my audio is coming from. Ba, 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 ba. Wow, that was loud. All right, let's turn that down. Playing a TikTok video, which was loud as fuck. Did you just hear like a loud noise? Meg says yes, because she's got a lightning bolt. Meg, either you're kicking it hard for the bad brains, or you just got hit by lightning when I when I hit that button. Which one is it, Meg? Is it the Bad Brains t-shirt? Meg, are you kicking it for this classic shirt right here, my friend? Which always a key shirt, but okay, so that's our picture. We're gonna go to that. Sounds like the volume is still pretty loud. Let's go back. So anyway, I want to show you this really cool video of one of my favorite foods being made. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna show it. And hang on, let's get this. Let's see. Oh, okay, there we go. I'm gonna show this, but I'm not gonna tell you right away what food they're making. Okay, we're gonna watch. It's a very quick video, just a couple minutes long, and they're making one of my favorite foods. And if you all know me, which you do to some degree, you know certainly what foods I love. Meg says, "How do we get your hoodies?" Yeah, which hoodies? Bad Brains. All right, tell me which one you mean. But so let's try again to turn that down just a little bit, and we will now watch a video together. So I've never seen anything like this. It's like a really cool a clip of this factory where they make this food. Let's see. Has anyone guessed what it is yet? So those are radishes. Look at those delicious giant radishes. Oh my God. So they're going through this machine. Any guesses? Any guesses yet? I mean, it says it right there if you if you saw it. But so they got the radishes. They're putting them in these machines, and wow, this is so fascinating to see how it's done on a mass level, right? Wow, we got some scallions, some garlic, onions are coming down the pike now. Mm, 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 mm. Every one of those things, the allium family, the compounds. We keep reading about these things, the different sulfur-bearing compounds, the different antioxidants. That's what's amazing to me is every couple months there's another article about here's what's really great in this food and that food. This is a superfood. Well, let's just eat them then. It's just that this is easy stuff, folks. Anyway, back to our video here. It's just got a few more seconds, 20 more seconds. Now some ginger, which we keep reading about the new discoveries about ginger. about turmeric, about all these things, that are in the Ayurvedic foods, Ayurvedic medicine cabinet, for want of a better phrase. You look into these cultures, Asia especially, you know, older African cultures, older native cultures in the South American continent, older native cultures here in what we call the USA, the herbs that these tribal folks were using, the root vegetables, the funguses that they learned had all these powers. You know, it it's about striking that balance. This stuff isn't magic, and I really want to make that point these days as we're fighting a really slippery viral global problem that there's shit that's not going to work, folks. Mustard oil maybe isn't the call right now. Ivermectin maybe isn't the call. Now, there might be something from the natural world that kills COVID. I'm all ears. But we haven't found it yet. Is it andrographis? Is it some kind of lion's mane compound that breaks the cell wall? I don't know. I'd be the first to embrace it. But we don't have it yet. And stop it. These people saying, my high alkaline apple cider vinegar. No, it doesn't. Apple cider vinegar is awesome. I will consume it for the rest of my days because I feel good from it. I've seen it change my immune system. I've seen it enhance my digestion. I've seen it be great for my hair, skin, and nails. I can't say enough about apple cider vinegar. But it's not infinitely powerful. See, that's the problem that I'm seeing with too many of my natural foods. People, they're saying some crazy shit. And always have, really. I mean, you go back to Jethro Kloss and back to Eden and all those things in the 30s. And you had a fair amount of snake oil and magic juices and stuff. It's always been the problem with a natural lifestyle that they take a very good thing and wreck it for some of us. So anyway, back to the end of our film here. But I'm just giving a shout out to ginger, to scallions, to onions, the power in those foods, indeed, for your respiratory health, digestive health, circulatory health, your heart health. Unbelievable power, folks. And how many Newsweek articles do you need to see about bioflavonoids, about catechins in green tea, about antioxidants that are in fruits, about the things that are in lemon rind, and at some point, stop leaving it at arm's length. Look at your shopping cart and say, wow, did I really only get 2 vegetables and then all this other stuff? We all have to keep trying to bring it up, raise it up. So we're going to finish the video here. I got to see that ginger again. I love ginger. Look at that. And that's the dishwater. You got to have some dishwater. I mean, come on, right? Think of all the food that's washed off in the dishes that goes to waste. So you pour a little dirty dishwater in. I mean, come on. No, it's some kind of miso type broth. But it does, right? You never know in these factories. Angry employee says, dishwater. So there we have it. It's looping around. Of course, it's kimchi, folks. Kimchi, yes. This is a really cool account that has all these cool foods. And It's not all vegetarian, of course, but it's just cool to see how they make this stuff. Different, different traditional foods. Anyway, you can find that. I just thought the kimchi video was really good. And it reminded me, hey, I got some kimchi in the fridge. Let's knock that out. So, all right, folks, I'm done. Ran a little over today, but that's okay. It's always fun chatting with folks. I appreciate you. I really do. Thanks for stopping by. 216 comments. Wow, that is, and maybe 3 of those are my links. But I appreciate you being here. Hopefully, I've inspired you to just once a week say, I'm taking the day off of animal flesh, of the blood and the torture, and just one day a week, go Ted Nugent the other 6 days. By that I mean, don't be a jackass spouting off. No, but if you're going to eat flesh, get the highest quality. Really, get some farm-raised lamb or some hormone, no vaccinated beef or bison, even better, leaner meats. And I don't like it. I'm not encouraging, but I'm just saying, be a qualitarian. Eat some higher quality. If you do love cheese, spend that extra money. It's really only $2 or $3 usually. These days, it's really, the gap has come. Get that organic cheese. It tastes better. And you're supporting a smaller farmer. Sure, there's now big farms doing organic, but that's great. That means that it's growing. But do what you can. Just raise the quality a little bit. Eat more local. Eat more non-GMO. I really, really think it's working. We are, through our market share, our voting with our dollar. It really is, folks. I mean, I travel all around and I look for this shit, and it's one of the happier trends I've seen in the past 20 years. From the smallest gas station kind of convenience stop all the way to the biggest retailer on earth, Walmart, and their counterparts, Asda, in the United Kingdom. Everyone is listening and saying, we have to have some healthier alternatives. Customers are so keep on demanding better shit, and enjoy your week. Stay safe. I will see you a couple of the times this week. I'll be streaming a bunch of times. Check out my my Patreon, which I'll put the link right in there. I do that 4 or 5 days a week. I do different stuff, workshops, performances, lessons. So check it out, and the link is there. You can find out what it's about. A lot of artists are doing Patreon. We're out of work. My tours are being canceled. Just lost a tour about a month ago, but it still sucks because the trickle down is happening. Lost a tour, lost a short 5-day run, and I have 2 other tours, October and December, that are hanging in the balance. I don't, shit is fucked up. Anyway, so I'm doing a lot of stuff from right here. We're making strange noises, and also some nice noises. Well, that's strange is nice to me, but we're doing it all, and sometimes we do it for real in a performance. But that's just a little taster of what goes on around here, folks. See you soon. Thanks for being here.